Blog Talk Radio.
What's good? Welcome to the Mike and Ant. I'm Ant. My co-host Mike is not here today, but we are coming to you worldwide on Blog Talk Radio, Stitcher, and TuneIn. And on today's show, we're going to break down the NBA playoffs and give you my postseason predictions all the way up into the NBA. Well, not all the way up to the NBA, they'll do it round by round. So I'm going to break down all the first round. I'll break down all 8 matchups, break down who I think is going to win and who's going to advance. So as always, you can chat with me on Blog Talk Radio, or you can follow me on Twitter at ExpectedAnt, and you can also find me on Tumblr at MadSexy, and I'm also on Facebook as well under Anthony Thomas. I think my Facebook link is linked on my Spicker page. So if you go on my Spicker page, you can find my Facebook link on my profile page. So let's jump into the nitty gritty here, as we're going to discuss the 2015 NBA playoffs. As the playoffs kick off this weekend, I'm excited. I know all you guys are excited too. It's been a long 82-game season. It's been a weird 82-game season, as the teams that are normally in the playoffs are not in the playoffs. Teams that you wouldn't think would be good are actually good, and there's a chance we might actually have a finals matchup that back in October when the season started, you didn't even think was going to happen. So a little background of the 2015 NBA playoffs. As the playoffs kick off this weekend, for the first time since 2006, all 5 teams from one division made the playoffs. Last time that happened was as all 5 members from the Southwest Division made the playoffs in the Western Conference. Last time that happened was in 2006, when all 5 teams from the Central Division made the playoffs in the East. So the San Antonio Spurs are making the playoffs for the 18th consecutive year, which is the current longest streak in the NBA right now. The second longest streak in the NBA right now, which is actually kind of surprising seeing how bad they were just 10 years ago, is the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are in the playoffs for the 8th consecutive season. They're the top seed in the East. The Golden State Warriors are making the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year. They're the top seed in the West. And also, you have teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers that are making the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. The last time LeBron was there. And also, you have the Miami Heat. They did not make the playoffs. So the Heat are the first team since the 2005 Los Angeles Lakers to miss the playoffs a year after going to the NBA Finals. As the Lakers went to the Finals in 2004, they lost to the Pistons in 2005. That's the year they traded Shaq to Miami. They missed the playoffs because Kobe couldn't get it done by himself. Also, 3 of the 4 conference finalists from last year also did not make it to the playoffs. The Miami Heat, as we talked about, not in the playoffs for the first time since 2007. The first time since 2008. Miami did not make the playoffs. Oklahoma City missed the playoffs for the first time since 2009. And the Indiana Pacers not making the playoffs for the first time since 2010. And the Thunder and the Pacers all missed the playoffs due to head-to-head due to tiebreakers, which got the Pelicans and the Nets in over there. And also, The Milwaukee Bucks making the playoffs for the first time since 13, as they are the first team I think in NBA history to go from the worst team in the NBA last year to making the playoffs the following season. And also the Boston Celtics overachieved, especially after the All-Star break, as they made the playoffs also for the first time in 2 years. So we'll start things off in the Eastern Conference. So here's the 8 teams that are in the East. You have the Atlanta Hawks, number 1. They have home court advantage. Cleveland, number 2. Chicago, number 3. Toronto, number 4. Washington, number 5. Milwaukee, number 6. Boston, number 7. Brooklyn, number 8. And in the West, you have Golden State, number 1. They have home court advantage throughout the NBA. Houston, number 2. LA, number 3. Portland, number 4. Memphis, number 5. San Antonio, number 6. Dallas, number 7. New Orleans, number 8. And it's weird because only 3 teams in the East can actually make the playoffs in the West. That's just how bad the East is. This year the East is just. Honestly, I don't even understand why the conferences are like that. But it just tells you how bad the Eastern Conference is that only 3 teams from the East can actually make the playoffs if they're in the West. All right, so we'll start off. We'll break down the Eastern Conference. We'll start things off discussing the 1-8 matchup in the East. The number 1 seed Atlanta Hawks taking on the number 8 seed Brooklyn Nets. Atlanta, pretty much, this is the first ever postseason meeting between the Hawks and the Nets. They've never met each other in the playoffs before. This will be the first time. Atlanta dominated the regular season series, sweeping Brooklyn 4-0. They blew them out every time except for the last meeting, actually just last week, when Atlanta beat Brooklyn by 3. But each game they beat Brooklyn by at least 11 points or more. So to me, I can see this. To me, I think it's gonna be a sweep. Even though I'll give Brooklyn the benefit of the doubt, I think Brooklyn could maybe win 1 game at home. So worst case scenario is it'll be a sweep. Best case scenario, Brooklyn gets at least 1 game at home and they win in 5. Atlanta's a tricky team because Atlanta, unlike most teams in the playoffs and most teams that win 60 games, have one go-to star player that you can say, okay, he's gonna take over a game. But Atlanta, they're the true definition of a team. They play together as a team. They don't have one star player. Unless you're just a huge basketball fan or you're a huge Atlanta Hawks fan, it's really hard to even name one player on this team. But somehow they get it done. And they move the ball really well. Great ball movement from the Atlanta Hawks offense. They're a very unselfish team. I don't think they had a single player on their team average 20 points all season. So, but whatever happens is working out for them. So I got Atlanta winning this series, and I think at least go 5 games. So that's how I think it'll be a sweep, but it'll be nice. I give Brooklyn at least 1 win at home, and I think Atlanta wins this game 5. All right, next matchup with the 2-7 matchup in the East. You have the 2 seed Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the number 7 seed Boston Celtics. And like I mentioned, Boston, they're the surprise team of the NBA. They went 40-42 to finish up the end of the season. They finished the season on a 6-game winning streak. They actually had the second best record in the Eastern Conference since the All-Star break. Only Cleveland, ironically, had a better record than them. Both teams split the regular season series 2-2. Cleveland won the first game. Boston won the last 2 games, even though you pretty much threw the regular season matches at the window, only because when Boston won the first game in November, the players on the Cavaliers and the players that were on the Celtics then are no longer on the team. Rajon Rondo's gone. Jeff Green is gone on Boston. Obviously, Cleveland had a totally different roster. Deion Waiters is gone. Timothy Mozgov wasn't there at the time. So it's just 2 completely different teams than what we saw in November when Cleveland won. And, of course, in March, when Cleveland beat them again, Boston wasn't the same team either. Boston has changed significantly since March as well. In the last two meetings, which just happened over the last 5 days, uh, Kyrie Irving didn't play the first game, and then LeBron and Kevin Love didn't play the second game. But Boston won both games. So this is the sixth meeting between the Celtics and the Cavaliers in the playoffs. Out of the previous 5 times these two teams played, Boston's 4-1 all time against Cleveland. As a matter of fact, the last time these two teams met in the playoffs was in 2010. They met in the Eastern Conference semifinals in 2010. Boston won that series 4-2. And just like with the Atlanta Brooklyn series, I think this series will be a 5-game series. I think Boston's good enough to win at home. I don't think Boston has the talent to compete with Cleveland at this point in time. I still think Boston. I think it's good enough that they made the playoffs, and I hope this is what the Sixers do in the future, is be as good as Boston and at least compete. But but I just think right now Boston's too young to compete with Cleveland at this level, and I think still Boston still maybe 4 or 5 years away from competing in the Eastern Conference. Even though the Eastern Conference is so bad, Boston could easily compete in the East next year. But I think right now Boston doesn't have the talent to compete with Cleveland. And again, I'll give Boston the benefit of the doubt, just like I did with Atlanta and Brooklyn. And I think Boston is good enough to win at least one game at the Boston Garden. And I think Cleveland will win this series in 5 games. All right, next we have the 3-6 matchup in the Eastern Conference. The number 3 seed Chicago Bulls versus the number 6 seed Milwaukee Bucks. And Chicago, they won the regular season series 3-1. They beat Milwaukee the first 3 times, and they beat them in November, January, and February. And then Milwaukee won the last matchup in April 1st. This is the 4th playoff meeting between these two teams. Out of the first 3 meetings, Milwaukee won 2 out of the first 3 previous times that they played in the playoffs. The last time these two teams met in the playoffs was actually in 1990. In the first round, Chicago won the series 3-1. And again, just like with Boston, Milwaukee, as I mentioned earlier, they went from being the worst team in the NBA last year to making the playoffs, the 6th seed in the East. And just like with Boston, I think Cleveland at this point in time, not Cleveland, but Milwaukee, excuse me. I think Milwaukee at this point in time is not ready. They're not ready. They're still a young team, and I don't think they're ready for this moment. Now Chicago, they've been battling with injuries all year. They're getting healthy at the right time. They got Derrick Rose back. Joakim Noah, who missed the last 2 games of the season, he's expected to be back. They're getting Jimmy Butler back. So hopefully, if Chicago can stay healthy here, I think they can make a deep run in the playoffs, especially in the East. Because I still think that talent-wise, if they're healthy, I think they could be better than Cleveland. But at this point in time, I don't think Milwaukee is good enough to compete with Chicago in the playoffs. So, again, I see this series going just the way it was in the regular season. I can see Milwaukee winning at least 1 game, and that's it. And so just like with Cleveland and Boston, and just like with Atlanta and Brooklyn, I think Chicago will win this series in 5 games. I think it'll be a 5-game series. I think Milwaukee is good enough to win at least 1 at home, and that's it. No, but the key for Chicago is health. If they can stay healthy, and that's the one thing you always got to talk about when you talk about the Chicago Bulls, is can they stay healthy? If they can stay healthy, I think this team can, like I said, make a run. They have all the tools to make it to the finals. It's all about can they stay healthy. If they can't stay healthy, it's going to be a quick playoff exit for them. And if they can't stay healthy in this series, I think Milwaukee has a chance. But if they can be healthy, I see Chicago winning the series in 5. All right, so next up, you have the 4-5 matchup in the East. As you have the number 4 seed Toronto Raptors taking on number 5 seed Washington Wizards. This is a matchup between 2 teams that pretty much struggled after the All-Star break. Before the break, these were the number 2 and number 3 teams in the East. And since the All-Star break, both teams have pretty much fallen flat on their face. And